What's up, Internet? Justin here again. Last time we talked about cash flow, one of the most powerful ways to accumulate and maintain wealth. Today we're going to talk about something that's a little bit quicker though, a little bit sexier according to the media, and that is equity capture. Now, today I actually did some homework. I pulled out a real example for you guys so that we can go through and have a real case study and have real numbers to play around with. But before that, let's talk about what equity capture is. Equity capture is generally regarded as the discount at which you are able to acquire a property. Simple enough, right? Kind of. It's actually a spot that people mess up pretty frequently. So there are generally two approaches, techniques that are generally used to describe and applied with for equity capture. But let's keep it really simple first. At its core, equity capture is the difference between what you can sell it for and what you're able to buy it for, including all the expenses. Too many times I've seen people buy a property that's supposedly worth $100,000. They buy it for $80,000, and only later they find out that there's $25,000, $30,000 in major repair costs that absolutely have to be done to get rid of the property. So they end up net losing. So that brings up a really good point. One of the key skills you're going to need in this business is being able to accurately estimate how much a property is going to cost to get rehabbed. And if you're not able to do that, you need to absolutely find someone that you trust that does. So let's update our formula to show our added sophistication. Our new formula is now equity capture equals after repair value, ARV, minus purchase price, including the rehab costs and closing costs. Equity capture can be also expressed as a percentage. This is used to compare to different properties in different price ranges, as well as different real estate markets. So what we just described is the old fix and flip play, the one that everyone thinks of when they think about real estate investing. It involves a lot of time, expertise, and sometimes a little bit of people managing when you're dealing with rehabs. There are people that also call this approach forced appreciation and actually categorize it in its own category, but we're just arguing semantics now. It is really important to note that the ARV, the after repair value, is based off present market value, not future state. That can be due to natural appreciation. So we're using real comps in real time that has actually occurred in the past to try to predict and estimate what the value would be at that time if it was fully prepared. Again, going back to what we talked about before, natural appreciation is just so nebulous. It is really hard to predict. You kind of just have an idea, a hunch that it is going to go up, but different neighborhoods can react differently to appreciation. It's just too hard to tell. It's kind of like betting on the stock market. It's hard to know when, where, and how. This type of play also has a pretty significant time investment, and for that, I kind of throw this play into a job-like category. It's more job-like in that you're throwing a lot of your own time in. Yeah, you are investing with your money, but you're still punching in time. Almost like a 9 to 5. You're in and out frequently. Working on the property. So we've described the buy, fix, sell. In my experience, most properties that you're going to come across that are worth your time, that will make you a reasonable amount of money, are going to need repairs. But in order to make money on it, doesn't necessarily mean you have to make the repairs yourself. It should be pretty obvious that if you're not going to make the repairs, you're not going to get top dollar for the property. And if that wasn't obvious, you're just going to have to trust me on that one. There are very few people that want fixer-uppers, and the ones that do are in your same boat. They want to make money. However, if you're savvy enough to pick up a property at a significant enough discount, you might be able to wholesale it to another investor for him to also make money, but you also make money in the process. The formula is pretty simple. It's very similar to what we were using before. So equity capture equals the wholesale price minus your purchase price and closing costs. So there are a couple tricks to this. So you're obviously going to need to be able to pick up a property at a significant enough discount, but there's enough meat on the bone for yourself and another investor. For you to maximize your investment, you should be familiar with what an investor is willing to pay for that type of property. And so that brings us back to our old formula that we were using before, and you want to model the investment equity capture to be a reasonable rate. And this is where the percentage discount, expressing equity capture at a percentage, becomes useful, is because you can kind of gauge what other investors are willing to pay based off your dealings with the market. These types of investors play a little bit of a metagame with other investors, and that it's kind of a cat and mouse game of what they can pay and what another investor is willing to pay. So the cash return on this type of play is obviously less because you're leaving a lot of the meat on the bone for the investor that you're kicking the property to. But the turnaround time is extremely quick. The time that you'd be able to fix and flip one property, a wholesaler would be able to do a dozen properties. And if he's good, he can do a lot more than that. This type of play requires a phenomenal understanding of the local markets. You got to be pretty well networked because you got to have enough investors that you can kick this property to sell it to, and also be pretty damn good at finding deals and no math. And compared to the fix and flip, this is a total full-on time job. Let's talk about a real life example that exemplifies all the concepts that we just described. One of my investor buddies, we came across a property that he ended up fixing. He did a fix and flip on this. I helped him purchase it, helped him sell it. And it actually involves all three of the things we talked about today. So the wholesale equity, regular forced appreciation or just equity capture from fixing and flipping, and also natural appreciation from just the market going up. So I'm in Austin, Texas. If you are kind of aware of the real estate game, Texas in general, especially Central Texas, has been on fire these past few years. The real estate market's just been relentless. Part of it is just the sheer number of people coming into town. We came across a property that a wholesaler was actually kicking it to us, and I told my investor about it. Threw some numbers together, and it looked like it made sense, and we took the plunge. This property, he was offering it to us at $115,000. I did some research, doing my usual sleuthing, and I found out that he had it under contract for $101,000. We talked to him for a little bit, and we were able to get him down to $110,000. So there was enough meat on the bone for him. He did kick down his closing costs to us, so that was an additional closing cost that we had to accrue. So our purchase price on this property was $110,000. When we did our comps, present value at the time that we were investigating and evaluating the property, the comps were showing between $150,000 and $200,000. The 150 side is going to be on the low side, and $200,000 was for the bigger properties and slightly less. So that was total top of the market for that specific subdivision. Me personally, I like to try to be conservative, and I told him that I felt like this number was probably going to be 185. He felt a little more strongly it was going to be higher. But we did both agree that because of the Austin housing squeeze, that this property at a later date was going to be worth more than that $185,000. We estimated our rehab, and the house was in great shape. Good bones, not a single crack in the foundation. Roofing was five years old, big lot. All it needed was kitchen, baths. So 2 bathrooms needed updating, kitchen needed updating, and paint and some flooring in some spots, and that was pretty much it. So I think we estimated like $22,000 with closing costs. I think his total net cost would have been like $25,000. I think that's what we came up to on that one. So purchase price at $110,000 with his rehab costs and closing costs, that would put him at $135,000. So including his rehab costs, closing costs, and brokerage fees, which was also 6%, we calculated that his net profit off the present value of the property would be $37,000, which is roughly 20% of the after repair value. 20% equity captured. That's not bad, especially in the market at the time that we were executing on this play. Now, fast forward 6 months. Oh, and also we did buy the property in the wintertime, so we were at the bottom of the market, and 6 months later we were at the top of the market. So there were a bunch of comps for showing in the 220s, 215, 220, but he wanted to push the envelope, and we listed it at 230. We ended up getting a contract for 225. Within 2 weeks, boom, had it executed. That difference between the 185 and the 225 is the natural appreciation of the market, which should not be confused with the original equity capture calculation, because that number it would be too difficult to estimate what that number would be, because the neighborhood across the street did not see the same appreciation as that neighborhood. It's weird like that. You gotta keep it separate. I guess what I'm getting at is counting on natural appreciation before it occurs is like counting your chickens before they hatch. So now with the new closing cost, or the new price and closing costs, his net after commissions and closing costs was like $209,000. He ends up, instead of $37,000, I think he ended up doubling what we thought he was going to make. So that ended up being $74,000. That's insane. So the $74,000, that's like 34% equity capture in Austin. That's just wow. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed my video. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, and I will answer them gladly. Thanks.